while, but let's have a look at this. Raid on St. Nazaire. This is a solo game from 1987. Bit of a golden oldie. So, let's see how it works. Just before we start, here's a quick look at the full board. It actually comes in three hardback sections, and it's pretty much a full map of St. Nazaire. That was World War II, and pretty much it was a ridiculously daring raid, and pretty much what had to happen was you had to bring in this giant destroyer, semi-disguised as a German destroyer. The British had to sail it in, past all of these guns that are here, all the way up to here, and then smash it into there. Then blow the thing up, destroying as much of this as possible. And needless to say, it worked kinda, but there was huge, massive losses. So let's have a look at the game and see how it works game-wise. Right, this is the approach area, and this has got all of the boats. All of the boats. This one here, this kind of double, is the Campbelltown. This is a destroyer that is going to go in that direction and smash into that dock. Each of these are a boat, and they've got a name on them. And also we have these guys. The guys with the kind of light orange bit at the bottom, these 10 sorry, are demolition. These guys, this 9, these are commandos. They don't destroy anything really. Well, they shoot things, but they don't actually blow things up. These things are German guns. They're placed on the coast. These two stay here. These are kind of showing you that there is a ship here off the map that is going to shoot at us. So the way it works is each of these guys will be assigned to a boat, and the boats all have numbers on them, and we're going to roll what we call a triad. Triad is 3 dice, and we'll come to the whole kind of triad thing when we actually roll the dice, but each guy will be assigned to a boat, and that's already on a sheet, which I'll kind of sneak the corner of it in here, but it tells you here the boats, and then it tells you on the other side who is assigned to those boats, and strength and all sorts of stuff that you've got to make a note of. So we already know who is going to be on what boat. These numbers at the top, this is the target that this particular demolitions unit is going to have to destroy. Only after they've destroyed that can they go and destroy other things. So that is their main target. So let me show you some landing points and targets. Right, let's use Bradley here as an example. We know from this sheet that Bradley is on the good ship Wallace here. So he's going to be on there. There's 6 crew on that boat, and they have 2 guns. A T means a torpedo, but the Wallace has 2 guns. It's got room for 12 passengers, should anybody still be alive to get picked up. But Bradley here, he has 6 strength, primary target is 331, and he's landing at 336. So 336 is, let me just find it, I've probably picked the worst target actually, because I think I've just covered it. So Bradley has got to be dropped off at 336, which is here. That's his landing zone, so his boat must land here. He is going to have to do his primary target of 331, which is way up here. So Bradley is going to have to leg it up here, get to here, destroy that, which is a locked gates. Then he can think about destroying something else. So it's kind of tricky because there only are two main landing points, which is here and here. That's the two main ones for the boats. The other group of folk, let me just bring that back in again, because we still have our destroyer. Destroyer has these 6 groups on it, and they're all going to be dropped off at landing zone treble 1, which is here, where we're going to smash the destroyer into. They are going to go off and head for these targets and blow them up. That's the theory behind it. Right, let's get started. Turn 1, and this is phase 1. This is the gun and searchlight phase. Turn 1, by default, this guy here is a searchlight, and he is on by default, shown there. So that light there is shining on the approach zone to highlight all of these boats. So that signifies that that light there is on. Normally you roll dice to see which ones are lit, which ones are broken, which ones are going to come back into play, that kind of stuff, but not in turn 1. So that is pretty much it for the gun and searchlight phase for turn 1. Phase 2, the naval attack phase. This is where the Germans are very confused as to why there's a giant destroyer just hurtling towards them, and they, by the rules, they get to hit the biggest target and most illuminated target, which is of course going to be Campbelltown. So they get an automatic hit on that. So what we've got to do is to roll and see what is going to happen to the Campbelltown. So 2 dice, 8, and we have to look at the naval attacks table, and I'll show you it's very badly done on the map because everything seems to be black on blue and it makes it really hard to read. So I don't know if you'll see this or not, but I shall try and bring into focus this table here. And 8 is evade, but it has a star. That means it doesn't apply to the Campbelltown. Instead, we go for the C, which is just beside it. The C means that crew or commandos are going to have to take a hit. It's not the greatest of starts, right enough, but let's go for it. Right, for C, our penalty is that we either have to knock off a commando or one of the crew. So obviously I'm going to go for one of the crew. We're going to say that this guy here has been bumped off. So we have lost a crew member already on the Campbelltown, which is nothing really. It's only a crew member. Next part of the harbour defence fire is where the Germans just shoot lumps out of us. What's going to happen is we're going to roll the 3 dice, triad it's called, and every time they get a 5 or less, they get a hit. They can have up to 12 hits on us. So this is where it could get horribly nasty. So here we go. First one, I'm going to mark it with this shots taken marker here. So this is the first one, and they get a 3, so that's a hit. We then take the yellow dice first, and that means 26. So boat 26 is going to take a hit. That's this guy here, Collier, the 26. So he's going to take a hit. What will that hit be? It's going to be the same table I showed you last time, that harbour defence table, and 10. And I've just covered up my table. 10 is MC, multiple casualties. So we have to make another dice roll, and we have to split the casualties between the crew, because we still have, let me see, just bring in my bit of paper, because we still have a full crew of 6, and that one is the Collier, which has got Walton on it, and he is one of the demolitions, so we don't really want to lose him. We'd like to keep our demolitions, we need them. So, let me just check here. For multiple casualties, we have to roll the white dice and we have to split it between the crew and strength of the commandos. So, whoops, bit much. 5. So we have to lose 3 crew, which is not really a problem, but it does mean that we're pretty much damaging one of our demolitions guys already, which is not so good. So where are we? Collier. Collier, yep. Collier is going to lose 3 crew, and poor Walton here. Walton's going to take a bit of damage. So that's not such a great start. Right, number 2. Number 2. Let's see what happens this time. Another hit on 45. 45 is this one. Bert. What's going to happen to Bert? 7. It's going to be evade. Evade means he gets this little marker which gives him -1 movement point. So I'm just going to put that on here. Try and not destroy everything. There we go. So he loses a movement point when we actually get to move. So that's 2. Number 3. Another hit. 25. 25 is a collier again. And it's 9. Evade. So not only is it taking damage, but the collier is also gonna have to try and dodge things. So that's 3. And 4. 4 is another hit on 44. 44 is this one, Stevens. Stevens is 10. Multiple casualties again. So again we have to roll the white dice. 3. So that's 2 comes off of Stevens. Where are we? 2 comes off of Stevens and 1 comes off of Byrne, who is not demolitions. Next. 5. Right. 6. Thank God for that. 6 means that they miss. So that is it. They only get 4 hits on us. That's the end of that idea. Whew. If that had gone for 12, it would have been a disaster, I think. This one is covering fire. This is where we get to fire back and try and actually shoot somebody. And I know for a fact that at the end of this turn, this spotlight here is going to appear over here and make us even more of a screaming target. So I'm thinking we try and take this guy out. I'm also thinking we try and take these guys. Normally you would use torpedoes, but yeah, we can give it a shot. The only downside is, again, we've got to roll a couple of dice, but we need to get 7 or less in this first shot. So I'm going to mark it again with this little marker here. So this is our first shot. We need to get 7 or less on these 2 dice. 5, so we do actually get a hit. Right, now, as I say, I'm thinking this guy. What we then have to do is roll another couple of dice to see what the effect is. And there's a table for that. I don't know if it's up the top right enough. Yes. Let me quickly show you the covering fire table, just to prove what actually happens. Covering fire table is this fellow here. So I'm going to roll on that table, and that's what's going to tell us what happens to that light that we've just hit. So here's hoping. 4. 4 says target disrupted. Mark accordingly. So we managed to disrupt that light. So that's a bit of a help. It means that that light won't now come on at this side of the board at the end of this turn. So we get a maximum of five shots. But there's always a but. This time we have to roll 6 or less, and it keeps going down, so that we can only get that amount of turns. So we need 6 or less this time. Absolutely no chance. That was short-lived. Right, so that's the end of covering fire, but at least we're 1 spotlight less. Oh, in fact, I should mention, and I forgot to mention this the last time, that having the spotlight on means that it's a -1 on a dice roll when it's the German's turn. And if that 1 makes a difference, then you're caught in that spotlight. And again, you get a negative value for that. So, anyway, this time it's dockside defensive fire. Right, dockside defensive fire. This is where I could be making my first mistake of the rules. I'm sure it's probably not actually the first, but it's the first that I'm really unsure about. It doesn't really specify in the rules that when it's the first turn, how many guns here should be firing on the approach zone over there. Having looked through an issue of General Magazine, and there's a playthrough of that, the guy seems to just fire 6 guns. So he's rolling on a 6 or less with a 6-sided dice, which effectively you're going to get hit 6 times. But that's what he seems to do. So I'm going to go with that. I could very well be wrong, but the approach zone is obviously over there. There is 2 guns here. One up there is 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that may well be the 6. I'm not sure, but I'm going to go with 6. So there's probably going to be, well, there will be 6 hits at this point. So we're going to roll, and again, usual triad idea, but as I say, we're going to get 6 hits, so I'm going to mark them just to be on the safe side. But for the rest of the game, everything should be fine. But it's just this one first turn, I'm not sure about this. This could be wrong. I could be shooting myself in the foot here. But we'll go for it. So it's definitely a hit on 21. 21. So let's see what happens to 21. 21, 9, evade. So we have another evade on 21, which is plat. This one over here. In fact, I'll shove you over a bit just so you can see. So plat is here. They've got an evade. So that was the first one. Second one, again obviously a hit on 26. 26 is the, I think that was the collier again. It just seems to be getting picked on, which is 6. Turn away. Now it already has an evade. I'm not sure what happens there. Because it already has an evade on it of -1. So I'm assuming that I turned that to just becoming a turn away. So I can take this, flip it over to be turned away. Poor collier seems to be getting picked on. I'm not sure what's happening there. Okay, third is going to be 15. The Irwin, this guy, which is 6. Also a turn away. It's going to be absolutely nobody left at this rate. Problem is that the turn away and the evade means that we can't really move some of those boats, which is a bit of a problem when they're getting shot at. 4. 44. This guy, Stevens. 10. MC, multiple casualties. Again, 5. So, again, Stevens, oh crap, Stevens got picked on this time last time and it was a 5. So again, another one there. So I've got to split it, so I've got to put 3 to the Stevens and 2 to the commando guy. So the commando guy is already at half strength and there's only 1 crew member left in the Stevens. So that's not looking great. Okay, 5. 11. 11 is the Campbelltown. Oh, okay. That's a bit odd. Oh well, Campbelltown takes a hit then. Which is 8. 8 for the Campbelltown is a C, which is one of the crew or commandos. So that'll be another crew member. Last but not least will be 51. 51 will be this guy, Bert, as in heart with a B. And that is 9. 9 is evade. So Bert here is evade. So we have 3 that are crippled that can move a bit, and 2 that are just stuck and can't move at the moment. Oh joy, oh joy. Next, right, this time naval movement phase, where we get to move some boats. But it does mean we have to think. So, and thinking is always my downfall. As I said at the start, the boats have various different things, which is the boat name, crew, weapons, passengers, spaces if you like, who it's dropping off, their strength, primary target, landing zone, and then whether they landed in ammunition for grenades or whatnot. So we need to make sure that the boats go to the right drop-off points. Something I didn't do in my first couple of games and was not pleasant, I can tell you that. Right, let's have a look. First we have Campbelltown. Campbelltown we want over here as soon as humanly possible. So we can move each boat 2 spaces. Evade ones, 1 space. And the turn away, we can't move, they're stuck. So the Campbelltown is most definitely heading into section B. Next turn it'll be C, then smashed into that dock. Ryder has a landing zone of 366, which is up here. So we want the Ryder in section B as well. Needs to go up here and drop off. It means that we can use 1 turn to get to here, then another turn to drop people off. Because, use your imagination, the commandos I showed you earlier are inside there. Plenty of imagination. Platt. The Platt is heading towards 336, which is right here under this gun. So we want to head towards this space. The Platt though has an evade on it, so it can only go 1 space. So I'm going to leave it in section A. The Falconer is heading towards 336 as well, so it's also going to be in section B. And the Collier is a turn away, so it's stuck. Wallace is heading for 336 as well, so section B. Horlock, believe is the same idea, yep. Horlock and Henderson, same idea, 336, and he goes. Right, the Boyd doesn't have any commandos, doesn't have any targets, nothing, absolutely nothing. So we can use it to pick up passengers, but do we leave it sitting somewhere where it's just going to get shot to pieces? Because the idea being, if anything happens to any of these boats, the commandos can be saved, put on another boat and sent back to England. You can't put commandos in another boat and bring them back out again. When you put them into another boat, they become passengers and that's it. But you still get points for, but I think it's something like half a point. It's barely even worth rescuing people. The Boyd will leave in the approach zone. We'll leave him in there. Stevens, which is absolutely shot to bits. It's got one crew left, which is probably just the captain, wondering what the hell is going on. But it does have a commando who needs to drop off at 366, way up here again. So the Stevens is coming in. He's going to sit there. The Burt is going to go for 366 as well, but it has an evade, so it's also going to sit in zone A. Let's see, next one's evade as well. That's the Burt. This is going to get very confusing with Burt and Burt. They're also going to 366. So again, he's in section A. The Tilly is heading towards 366. It's going to be same for Fenton. Let's see. The Rodier is heading to 366, so it's going to be in B. And the last two, Knock and Win, they don't have any actual drop-off points. Now, the reason why the Boyd, the Knock and the Win don't have any drop-off points is, let me just show you, is because the Knock and the Win, and a couple other boats as well, and the Boyd being one, have torpedoes. So what we're going to do is we're going to put those three, Boyd, Knock and Win, we're going to put them in section A to see if they can torpedo the living daylights out of those two guns right in the very bottom corner. So we're going to put them in A. They're going to hopefully torpedo. So, right, I think that's the movement phase done. So we're going to, I'll just quickly show you that we have the three that are evaded here and these three here. Now these three are going to fire torpedoes on these two guys here, because that's going to come next. So we're going to designate these three firing torpedoes at these guys. So, torpedo attacks. Torpedoes, right. So, these guys here, we have the torpedo attack table handily printed here, right in the corner. So, 1 and 2 is destroyed, 3 and 4 is damaged, 5 and 6 no effect. So, we're going to have Boyd fire on this first guy, which is a 5. So that's no effect. Good job, Boyd. Knock is going to fire on the first one again. 3, which is damaged. So let me just put a marker on there. That guy is damaged. Damaged goods. Win is going to fire on the second guy. 3. Same again. Damaged. Excellent. Excellent. Right. Because those two guns are a damn nuisance. So that worked out quite well. Now, also, there's a lot of paperwork in this game. I also have to mark off the T for torpedoes, because that's the torpedo fired and it's gone forever. So I'm going to mark those up. Next it will be, we have to clear off the markers for everybody that has turn away and evade on them. So I'll do that off camera. And then it will be the loading and unloading phase, which will be pretty much non-existent because nobody's actually there yet. So we won't have any loading or unloading because nobody's actually at their designated points, so we can skip that as well. Then it will be the German activation phase. And if you're wondering why there's no German soldiers on the map, this is where they come in. German activation. What we do is roll 2d6 and then we have a modifier that's on the actual turn track, which I meant to show you earlier, but I'm not going to move the camera again. At the moment it says -3, so whatever I roll, -3, I look it up here at the top, and then the bottom part tells me how many Germans are going to appear. So, oh, that's pretty good, because that means that it's -3 and we have 1, which means we have 1 German appearing on the map. That's, not only is it really good game wise, but it's also going to be really good time wise, because trying to find the actual point to put the person is absolute murder. They are not in a very good order. So what I'm going to do is roll again the 3 dice, and that's going to tell me red, yellow, white where to put the German soldier. So it's going to be 6, 2, 2. I have a container here with all the Germans in them. There's a whole bunch of German soldiers that go in there. This is just the first section. There's about another 4 sections. So this guy, and he is 2 strength, tells you there. The one at the top just tells you that he is the first group of German soldiers. On the back he reduces to a 1 strength, and then he's a goner. So he is going to go in 6, 2, 2, which is in one of the boxes way over to the side. Let me just move you up and show you. It is way up over here. Up here. Very top right corner of the map. So this guy has 2 strength, and he's pretty much stuck in that box for a wee while. I'll explain that later. But that is our lone German soldier for this turn, which is fantastic. I'm not complaining. There'll be plenty later on, I can tell you that. Next would be the commandos movement, but obviously there's no commandos to move, so we can skip that. The German movement number is, we roll 1d6, and that gives us the number here for German movement. So let me just roll it there. 3. German movement numbers are 3. Next section is German units can move, but it's kind of hard to explain this, but I'm just going to say German movement number rather than the actual number I've just rolled. The German movement number, if the soldier has less than that movement number, they cannot move. If they have the same as the movement number, they can move 1 place. If they have the movement number plus 1, they can go 2 places. And if they have the movement number 2 or more, then they can go 3 places, and that's it, that's their limit. So if the soldier had, say, a strength of 4, then he would have movement number 3 in this case, plus 1, so he'd be able to move 1 place. If the soldier had 6, he would have the movement number of 3, plus he would have another 3, but he would still only go 3 movement points, because he has the movement plus 2. Even though he has the movement plus 3, the maximum is movement plus 2. So the problem with that guy having 2 is that he has less than the 3, so he is stuck in that box and going nowhere. So there's no German movement this turn. Fear not, we're coming to the end of the first turn, and we're also going to skip commando attacks, German attacks, because there's nothing there. things like long range fire and mortar attacks, we can skip all those. Demolition phase, we can skip that whole lot. And the consolidation phase for the Germans, we can skip that. So we are finally at the end of turn 1. So next turn there will be even more things to do, because this is when we will be unloading people and crashing boats. So yeah, whew. Wow, hopefully there's less for me to explain in next turn. That was traumatic.